today I'm gonna make something that I make all the time. I learned from my great grandma Ray. I'm gonna make Syrian style string cheese. You may not follow along with this as a recipe, but I always get so many people asking me, what do you mean you make cheese? How does one make cheese? So I'm gonna show you. I do not have the cow that I milk in my backyard. I buy this cheese curd. I get it in Brooklyn, so if anybody who does not live in, Syrian Village, Brooklyn, is interested, send me a message and I'll show you kind of where to get all these ingredients. They are specialty ingredients. So I learned from my great grandma Ray. This is her cookbook, For the Love of Cooking. God bless her, she's still alive and well. And this is a very special recipe to me because I spent time with her one day at her home and she taught me how to make string cheese. She told me I was one of her best students. And every time I make this, I'm reminded of her and I love her so much, and she's really a true inspiration to me, to my whole family. You've never met a more positive, inspiring, amazing woman than my grandma Ray. She signs every one of her cards to you, keep smiling, and she truly believes that. So Grandma, this video is for you. I love you and happy Mother's Day. Okay, so how do we start? With a lot of equipment. So once you gather everything, have all your equipment and your setup, you'll be on a better roll to go. So it is a few minutes in the beginning. So I first have my curd. This is called machlab. It happens to be grounded cherry pit. It's a very different taste. It is a very Syrian taste, but once it's in the cheese, it gives it a delicious taste. You're not sure what it is. It's usually the machlab. And it smells really delicious and fresh. Again, I get this in Brooklyn. And I have here nigella or black caraway seeds. This actually can be found a lot more common. And kosher salt, which I put into a bowl. So those are your ingredients that are gonna go into the cheese. I then have my teaspoons. I'm gonna use a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of machlab and caraway seeds. Okay, so now we come to this end of the kitchen where I'm gonna have more of my big equipment. I have a microwave, a food processor, a fine mesh sieve, a plate to melt my cheese in, and then we're gonna have a bowl filled with ice. I'm gonna add water into it and you'll see what this is all for. Once that's all set up, I'm gonna get started and start making my cheese. Okay, the first step we're gonna do, we're gonna put all these aside, is we're just gonna cut up the cheese and grind it in the food processor until it's a nice chopped looking curd. I'll show you what the consistency is gonna look like. Okay, so we have our cheese. I'm gonna get it into chunks, doesn't have to be too small. I'd say like this size. And we're gonna get these into the food processor and I'm gonna show you what they look like when they're all grinded up. See, I grinded up my cheese into, I wanna say it's like a cottage cheese consistency, but dry. It's not wet and loose like a cottage cheese, but it looks similar. Okay, so we're gonna take 2 cups of this. I will take out the blade for safety. Okay, so I have a measuring cup here. I have 2 cups of the ground curd. Syrian string cheese always reminds me of fast days. It's the best thing to break a fast on, or any bar mitzvah, bris, brunch. It is a staple in any Syrian affair. It goes well with crackers, it goes well with omelets, bagels. It's delicious and everything. So I have 2 cups. I'm gonna get a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of the machlab, just dump it right in there, and half a teaspoon of the caraway seeds. Sprinkle it right in. We're gonna get a spoon, mix it around. Just get all it nice and evenly distributed. And then we're gonna put it into my glass bowl, a microwave safe dish. I'm gonna put this in the microwave for 2 minutes and it's gonna give it a nice melt, and then I'm gonna show you how I form the cheese. One little thing I do to make this faster is I'll have a second dish ready and waiting, mixed with all the ingredients to go in the microwave. So when that one's finished, I can swap out, and as I'm making the cheese, that one will be melting. So I will get another dish here, get my 2 cups. Awesome. Again, my 1 teaspoon of salt. Some people like theirs a little saltier, so I would say go for a heaping teaspoon. I'm okay with the teaspoon. Okay, we're gonna mix this all up. And again, you can see the consistency here. I'm gonna get it into another dish and then I'll swap it out of the microwave. Okay, so the microwaving is done. I usually do this over my sink, but to help you guys see, I'll do it over a bowl because, so you see now it's kind of nice and melted, a little watery. It is very hot, so be careful. I'm gonna dump this into the sieve, into the strainer, and you see how the water is dripping out of it. That's good. We're just gonna push it so more water gets out. You wanna try to take out a lot of the moisture, a lot of the water. Again, I do this over my sink so then it just drains right into it, but this also works really well. There is no fun use for the juice that drips out. It's not like a discard of any sort, so that's gonna go right down the garbage. Okay, I took out most of the water. Now I'm gonna start making this into like a nice rounded shape. At that point, I'm gonna poke a hole in the middle, and it's elastic this. You see how it's stretching? I poked a hole and I'm gonna keep going around and around until it gets nice and long, and it stretches very gently, pull and stretch, pull and stretch. At that point, I'm gonna fold it onto itself, and again, pull and stretch, pull and stretch. And again, one more time, and you're gonna now kind of make it around, pull and stretch, and at this point, when I have like 3 different strands here, I'm gonna curl it onto itself. Curl it, and then I like to tuck it in to form a nice, neat cheese. And there you go. You have an awesome looking, delicious string cheese. I'm now gonna put this in that ice water bath I spoke about because it's gonna help solidify and harden the cheese. All right, I'm gonna get the rest going. If you have any questions about this process, please send me a message. I also will then show you the #1 thing a lot of people don't know how to do once we have the cheese is how to string it. So I will show you guys once it's ready and hardened out of the ice bath, I'll come back and show you how to string it. I have my cheese, what do I do with it? How do I eat it? So you are actually gonna open it up, unravel it, and now you have really nice consistency. I would break it in half probably just because it's very long to string. And then you're gonna take it piece by piece and you're just gonna pull it away like you would the string cheese sticks, which a lot of people confuse when I say I make string cheese. They think I mean like Miller string cheese sticks. So you just pull it away just like that and you have delicious, fresh, homemade cheese. My favorite thing, as you guys know, are cheese boards, and string cheese is my #1 go-to part of a cheese board. It's the one thing that gets completely eaten and gone because it's so fresh and yum. And it also makes a really pretty presentation because it gives you different textures of cheese. You can have a soft cheese, some mozzarella, and then you can have like this, bunches of string cheese. Different flavors. If you want to be adventurous, you can add sun-dried tomatoes, za'atar, olives, and make different flavors of string cheese. You would add it in after you microwave it. I would mix it into the bowl before I strung it, and it would be so absolutely delicious and yummy. And there you go, you have your strung cheese. It is a little bit tedious job. I've taught my kids how to string cheese very early on and tell them it's a fun activity because it's kind of tedious. But here we go. I'm gonna go in for a bite. Delicious. Enjoy.